Okay, LastPass logged me out of my main
What's a computer?
computer, and
Yeah.
like I'm pissed because I don't know my LastPass password. That's the whole point. That's the main one. And like, how am I supposed to log in if it logged me out?
Yeah, so when you make that password, it definitely says remember this password because we will not save a copy of it and will not remind you of it, and you can't reset it. So
I
it
no,
definitely
you
warned
can
you.
reset it. I've reset it like 4 times, but it's like you have to jump through hoops just to fucking reset it. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
because it's the one password you're not supposed to forget, so it can remember all your other passwords for you.
but like I just don't get why it logged me out suddenly. Like it's really annoying.
It does that once a month now. It will log you out.
Okay. Might as well look into a new password saver because like I ain't got the brain power for all that shit.
Remembering one password. Yeah, that seems like a
Yes.
lot of work.
Because it has like a higher requirement for passwords than other apps do.
Oh, wow. So you have to remember one password that's slightly longer. Is that what you're telling me?
I don't have a great memory. That was the whole point for me.
Uh-huh. The whole point is you have to memorize one password, just one. And
I don't.
the requirements is like 12 characters with a special character. It's not like you have to memorize 18 characters or 30 characters. It's 12
Well, I just don't get why did they change it to log you out all the time. Like I don't want to be logged out.
because it's more secure.
Don't want that. I
Sucks for
just want it
you.
to put all my passwords in for me.
Yeah, that's the not secure part.
Well, whatever. Well, I'm here now on your computer.
Yeah, great. That's super helpful.
At least we're recording, okay? Like I wasn't logged out earlier too, so I'm like, ugh. Are you coughing a lot still?
Not really, no.
I didn't know since you named it sickness round 2. I was like, what does that mean?
I don't know. I thought it'd be funny.
You are funny. Well, hello. Welcome back to Mindless Prattle. I'm Ripley, that's Jordan, and we're here to talk to you again. Now you say stuff.
Sorry, my volume was really low. I could barely hear you.
Oh, I always have the opposite problem when I log into your computer. I have to like lower the volume. I'm like, why is this shit so loud?
Which volume? The volume in the headphones?
Mm-hmm.
It's because I never wear them. I just use them as speakers now because they're falling apart.
Oh, that makes sense. Mine too. The little like the gray part that covers the headphones on mine is it keeps coming out like all the material inside of it. And I know I've had them for a long time, but I'm not ready to get new ones yet.
Yeah, I mean, I need to get new ones, but I'm not there, so I just never had the need for the past, I don't know, year and a half, whatever it is.
Yeah, and I
So,
really sorry, what were you saying?
no, go ahead.
I really want wireless headphones, but my computer can't do wireless anything because I buy power lies. So
I'm not a huge fan of wireless headphones. Like, I just
why?
don't think they're that fun. They're not that like reliable to me. Like, I don't know. I don't know why. I know why you don't like the wire. It's because you suck at managing wires, and it gets caught on your chair, and you're like, I don't know how it keeps doing this. Tee and you put it down in the same spot in the same way every time, and then wonder how it gets caught. Like you, when you use my desk and you put shit back, you don't put it back in the same way. You put it back the same way you put it on your desk, and it annoys me when I show up and I move my chair and my headphones fall off my desk because of the way you place them.
Well, I've been putting them back on your little holder thing.
You did not. You
I
did
did
not place them
today.
back. You did not last week.
I did today.
Uh huh.
But what were you gonna say?
I was saying it's been an interesting week.
Yeah.
So we applied for an apartment, a new one, to go and do the living thing in. Got accepted. Got all of the things set up, the electrical, all this fun stuff, right? And then uh we signed the lease, and the next day they were like, hey, you and the company, you're moving 3 hours away. And I was like, awesome. I'm glad that I didn't move anything into that apartment yet. However, I need some documents so I can go break the lease and then transfer to a new one. So now we got to restart the whole process. But when I went in there today to talk to the office, because we were supposed to pick up the keys today.
Mhm.
And so I went in there and I was like, hey, this is kind of awkward. And they're like, what's going on? And I was like, well, I was supposed to pick up the keys today. And they're like, oh, you still can. And I was like, no, I don't want them. Um, they're like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, I was like, I'm being transferred, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh, okay. And she didn't even try to help me, the first lady. She was just like, oh, okay, stay here for a minute. And I was like, okay.
She's like, "I
I
don't know what the
wasn't going to
fuck
go
to do."
anywhere. And she walked like not even 4 feet away, said the exact same thing that I just said to an empty room that she was looking in, came back and was like, oh, yeah, you can go in there. She'll help you. And I was like, okay, thanks for the pep talk, I guess.
Mhm.
So I walk around the corner and there's a lady in this giant office with like a good sized desk, but not big enough for that office. Like that's an office for like 2 to 3 people. It's crazy. Anyway, I explained the whole thing over again. And she's like, oh, yeah, you'll have to, I don't know. And I was like, I don't know either. That's kind of why I'm here talking to you guys. Because I obviously don't need the keys now. I need the paperwork to break the lease, you know? So she's like, okay, well, let me print out the excuse me. She said, let me print out the paperwork so that we can have you sign it saying that you're terminating the lease. And I was like, okay. She goes, did you want to terminate it today? And I was like, whenever works for you guys, because I mean, I'm not moving in and I haven't picked up the keys obviously yet. So it's whatever you guys are best with, you know. And she's like, okay, well, normally it's a 30-day notice for the military, but obviously you're moving next week. It's not, you can't give 30 days. I'm like, yeah, they gave me a week notice, but it pretty much said I was moving with the whole company. And she's like, okay, well, let's sign it for today and I'll submit it to like my bosses and stuff. And then worst case worst, they may make it so that your lease ends on June, whatever it is, like a month,
Mhm.
the 16th or 17th or whatever. Excuse me. Instead of today, because that'll give them the 30 days that they need. But I'm going to tell them that you never even picked up the keys, so we should just relist it and not have you pay all that. And I was like, that's bad, good news for me. I would hope I don't have to pay for time that I'm not in the apartment, you know?
Yeah.
But so then she's like, okay, well, do you have a mailing address where we can send you like mail and stuff? And I was like, for what? What mail would you need to send me? And she's like, well, it requires a mailing address on here. And it's usually a forwarding address or mailing address. It's usually in case we find something wrong with the apartment. We can't send you like messages through the resident portal anymore. So we have to mail you things. And I was like, okay, but I was never in the apartment. So why do you need a mailing address to send me things that are wrong with the apartment that I was never in? And she's like, it's just the standard. It's like required as part of like filling out the form on her computer. I was
Mhm.
like, okay, fine. So I gave her an address, you know, I'm like, here, send things to here. And I was like, can I give you my email and you can just send things to that? Cause that'd be much faster to get in touch with me. Cause, you know, it's 2024. You could just call me and be like, hey, I need this. And be like, okay. And so she's like, oh, yeah, 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 that'll work too. So I wrote down my email and that stuff. And I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go. And she's like, can you send me the documents over like today? And I was like, yeah, I have them, like they're digital though. I'll go back to the uh, hotel room and send them over. And she's like, oh, perfect, that'll be great. And I was like, sure. So I went and sent those over, but I was like, yeah,
What an adventure. A week fucking notice. Whatever. You can't control it, but it's just funny. Like, we never stepped foot in there, but whatever.
yeah. She was like, and that's what she told me. She's like, yeah, we'll probably just refund you for the first month or at least everything besides like the first 3 days, because technically we the lease started like 3 days ago.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm fine paying for all of May, honestly, because it wasn't super expensive for all of May because you guys gave me some really good discounts. So if you want to keep all of May and just list it for June 1st move in, that's up to you guys. She was like, no, 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 we signed that you're out of the apartment today, so we'll relist it and we'll probably just give you a refund for the rest of May that you paid for. And I was like, cool, whatever works, man. I don't know.
Guess we'll eat those deposit fees though, or
Yeah,
whatever
but it's
the
not a big
application
deal.
fees were.
No, but they refunded that off of the price of the first month's rent.
That's true. Can't complain.
So I was like, meh, well, whatever. But man, jumping through hoops is crazy.
Yeah, when I called my boss about everything, she was like, "Oh my gosh, I need to order your military apron." And I was like, "That's not the biggest point of this story, but sure, go ahead,
Yeah,
military."
yeah, that gets close to this theme, but sure.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I was excited, but like I'm sure we'll find something just as great to do. Um,
Yeah, and the place we're going to is a much bigger like town with more options. So I think it'll be more fun being out there. But
everyone just keeps telling me I need to know more Spanish, and I'm like, "Listen, I'll get by."
probably, yeah.
Like I speak enough Spanish now that I'm okay at work, so I can't imagine it would be much worse. Like every time I
I
start,
think you'll just get more people with like thicker accents would be my best guess, but I don't know. I don't speak to a lot of people in town, so
and it's if you just speak a little bit of Spanish, Spanish speaking people are so fucking happy. It's ridiculous.
you brought up this same thing on last week's episode.
I just can't. Like the other day, I took this guy's order and I said maybe two sentences in Spanish, and he was like, "You speak
you,
Spanish?" I was like,
babe,
"Yes, yes, I
you
do."
told the exact same story
Oh,
last week. That's what I
it's
just
been
said.
whatever.
That's what I just said.
Well, the only like super interesting new thing I have is today I learned what it is called when a cat's hair stands up on their body. What do you think they would call that? Like, what's your best guess?
You talking like a scientific term or like
Mhm.
some common name
Scientific
for it?
term.
Um, I don't know. I would think it has something to do with like alertness or something, but I like what it means, but I don't know what they would call it.
Indeed, it does have something to do with alertness. It's called piloerection.
That makes sense. Yeah.
I read that and I was just laughing. Also, I'm a little distracted because my allergies have been so fucking bad this week. Like, at first I thought it was just how hot it's been, but like, I'm indoors today and my nose is just tingling, tingling, tingling so much, and I hate it. It's so annoying. Ugh.
What are the doctors that do allergies? What are their names? Like
Allergist?
the eye people are optometrists, and the foot people have a name. And like, what does the allergy people do? What is their name?
Yep, just an allergist. Allergist and immunologist.
Immunologist sounds cooler than allergist. Allergist sounds kind of lame.
It does, but it also makes a lot of sense.
Mm, I feel like you should use the Latin thing for allergies. Is there one? Like we use opto for optometrist thing.
Now I have to look it up.
Just saying. Where did they not have allergies in early Latin?
Okay, no. The Latin word for allergy is allergy, spelled GIE.
Hmm, I don't like that. That's dumb. Every
They were
Latin
like
word should be way different. I think
they were
that's
like, "We
how.
need to create a new word. How about we drop the IE and add a Y?"
It's
I think about it all the time. Like back then, like they didn't know about allergies. They would just be like, "Oh, you ate this and died. Let's see if someone else dies if they eat it."
I think if you were eating olives and you died from it, people would be like, "Dang, that was a bad batch of olives," and they'll just eat some other ones, and
Well,
most
no,
people won't. You know.
Well, like, for example, did you know people used to think tomatoes were toxic?
I think so. That sounds familiar.
So tomatoes are a part of the nightshade family, interestingly enough, but they used to eat off of like lead plates, and tomatoes are acidic. So like when tomatoes would like leach onto these lead plates, people would die, and they just thought tomatoes were deadly because of it, because they didn't know about lead existing.
I feel like there's a lot of knowledge today about things like that that have allowed the stupid population to just grow exponentially. Like stupid and like not fit for life. And so
Natural selection has been decimated.
like our like scientists' natural enemy is natural selection for some reason. Like, excuse me.
There is no excuse for you.
Like, if you were allergic to peanuts and everyone in your family is allergic to peanuts, you would not have survived through a lot of things if you came in contact with peanuts. They'd be like, "Oh man, that guy ate that thing and he
Okay,
died."
but how many
But
regions do peanuts grow in naturally?
no, but you know what I'm saying? It's like an example, all right? But like, are there any records in like Middle England of like the Middle Ages or Dark Ages where like someone dies of a gluten allergy? Because I highly doubt it.
No, actually, I think gluten allergies are a recent thing because of all the shit we do to our food. Because have you ever heard, like, some people will go to countries in Europe and their gluten allergies and lactose allergies disappear?
Yeah, I've had heard a bit of a couple of bits, but I got it. Yes, yes is the answer.
Ooh, that sounded like a me sentence right there. But yeah, I've always wondered, like, if I went to Europe, would I be able to have like dairy milk and have no issues?
I don't know. I hmm. I don't know, but this one was there's
Your language is so good today.
my language is off today. I don't know what's going on.
Long
But
day?
like people used to die of dumb things, and we would be like, "Man, don't do that dumb thing." Or if they had allergies, we'd be like, "Man, don't breed with that guy. He can't eat tomatoes or whatever it is." Are people allergic to corn? Is there anybody allergic to corn?
I don't think you could be allergic to corn, but I'll Google it
Can you
real quick.
not? Are there things that you can't be allergic to? I feel like somebody is allergic to like something. I feel like everything's an allergy for somebody. You know what I mean? Like even if it's like one or two people, I feel like someone's
Well,
allergic to it.
I mean, have you ever seen corn allergies are possible, but they are rare. Have you seen
Yeah.
you can
See.
be allergic to water? Like, have you ever seen the documentaries
Yeah.
on that?
Okay, but people who are allergic to things should not continue. That's all I'm saying.
That's kind of fucking rude.
No, I that's natural selection. We
So
got
I
too many
shouldn't
people
continue?
anyway. We got too many people anyway, all right? We don't need more people. I'm
So
not
because I'm
saying that
allergic to
like we
something,
should
I deserve
kill
to
all the
die?
people. I'm not saying we should kill all the people with allergies. I'm saying that you have inferior genes and reproducing with said people is not a good productive through use of society.
Yes, but that's the whole point of like when when somebody smells good to you, for example, you know, their genes are supposed to be compatible with yours or whatever. But that's like the whole point of breeding outside your gene pool is so that you don't perpetuate things like allergies or like disability.
Yeah, but I feel like science should be like, oh, we have this thing, it makes everyone not lactose intolerant anymore. Like we've cured lactose intolerance, right? Like that's what science should be doing. Instead, science is like, we're making this mushroom and it tastes like beef because we want to save some cows. And you're like, that's cool and all, but how does that help me exactly? And you're like, well, it's gluten free. You're like, oh, thank
Well,
goodness
I
we're
think the whole
adhering to
purpose
fucking
there is
people. Like,
I think the whole purpose there is to reduce like global warming and like, you know, save our
no, I
planet.
think the whole purpose there is they want a new revenue stream for profit, and they're like, I don't care, that's gluten free, and market it. Bam, 100% grass fed, and you're like, that's cool, I guess. I don't know.
I still would not eat mushrooms. I would rather die. Like, legitimately, if all we could have were mushrooms, like the post-apocalyptic world happens and mushrooms were like I'd rather die.
Why? I don't like mushrooms, but I'd rather eat than just die.
Maybe it's the neurodivergence in me, but like I physically cannot. I'd eat grass and tree bark and bugs
See,
first.
look, you're gonna eat things that you're allergic to, and try and survive off it, but not things that are edible because you just don't like it in your little lizard brain of yours. All right.
It
That's why
literally
people with
makes me throw
allergies should
up.
not be continuing. That's all I'm saying. If it makes you throw up, you ate the wrong mushroom
No, like,
or you're
because
not hungry enough.
I hate it so much. I guess I've never been, like, starving, like, I've been
This is what I'm saying. I don't think you've ever been hungry enough to overcome that level of hate towards a mushroom.
but I also think something's wrong with my brain because when I start
Agreed.
be when I become, like, hungry enough to be starving, I'm just like, "Okay, we'll starve." Like, it's fine. Who cares? I don't need food.
I don't see how that's a solution.
It's not a solution, but I know how to be hungry for a while. I'm sure there's a point
For a while.
I'm sure there's a point where your body is like, "Just eat whatever the fuck you can." You know, like, if we crash landed somewhere and didn't have food for a week, I'd be like, "Okay, like, I'm gonna eat that leg."
A week was not enough time. A week would not be enough time.
I think it would.
If you don't eat anything for a week, excuse me, but for a week, but you still have water, you could be all right.
Yeah, but, like,
You'll lose a lot of
in that
fat,
type
but
of
eventually,
situation, you wouldn't have water either probably, right?
why?
Like, where would you get it?
You just said you're on an island. Fucking scoop up
I
some
didn't say
ocean
an island,
water.
I said we crashed somewhere. I didn't say where.
Yeah, you said we crashed on an island. I will eat a leg after a
I
week.
said crash landed, I didn't say island. Like, what if we crash in the middle of, like, the mountains and there's all just I mean, if we had snow, then we
The
could
mountains,
water.
there's snow, melt it. If there's no snow, tap into a tree or a plant. It's a mountain. There's water.
One of my toxic traits is I genuinely think I could survive things like that because I've read books.
Yeah. I mean, unless you have a book to start a fire, I don't think it's going to be very useful.
I
Or if
mean,
you're carrying a book on survival.
like melting snow water or, like,
Tell me, okay,
getting
tell
high.
me how you're going to drink this snow water. You are standing in a field that is, or in a place, whatever, with snow nearby. How are you going to convert the snow into drinkable water? What are the steps?
I would need something plasticky like a tarp or, like, something thick like some sort of animal hide or fur or something like that. And then you take sticks and you create a little triangle basin, and then you put the snow in it and you let it melt. Now, we wouldn't have iodine or anything like that, but I would think drinking a little bit of dirty water would be much better than having no water.
So you have sticks to make a triangle thingy with a tarp to let snow melt. How exactly?
Via sunlight.
Via sunlight. You do realize that like the snow on the ground gets hit by sunlight all day and it's so cold that it stays cold and
But it's
frozen, right?
that's when it's surrounded by other snow. If you put it in a receptacle, then it doesn't do the same thing.
If you suspend snow on a tarp in the air, it will stay frozen. It will not melt.
Listen, it worked in Ice Planet Barbarians.
Yeah, that's not a survival book. Also, you should definitely just if you have the sticks to suspend some snow, you should just build a fire and boil the snow, by
Okay,
the
but
way.
what are we gonna build a fire with? Like, what if we don't have fire starting tools?
Hmm? You rub 2 sticks together long enough, you'll get some fire, or at least some heat.
That's what everybody says, but it is actually really fucking difficult to start a fire by rubbing sticks together.
It depends on how you're rubbing them together.
How do you rub them together?
You can build an actual fucking, I don't know the fucking official name for it, but if you have a little bit of string, you can a string, 2 sticks, and a little bit of like kindling. You can start a fire.
Okay, you don't have string, what do you do?
Hmm? Tear apart a little bit of clothing.
You know what though? That's why we should get one of those, like, survival things, like the fire starters. Like, what are they called? Like, where you can just start a fire with it. It'll, like, spark against
A
itself.
blowtorch.
Not a blowtorch. It's like a little tool where you can just start a fire.
Oh, lighter.
Not a lighter. Ugh, God, let me look it up.
Oh, okay. A match.
No.
Oh, you're talking about flint and steel then.
No, it's kind of like that, but it's like a waterproof infinite flint tool. I've seen them before for survival.
Flint and steel, yes.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is. It's
Again.
like,
What was the argument there?
nothing. I know nothing about survival, Jordan. I read books and play video games and stay at home. I would not survive
And be like,
any.
"What's this corpse on the ground next to this tarp that's suspended with snow on it?" And be like, "I don't know." I don't know what it is.
So you've been playing any video games lately?
No, I really haven't had time. Um, be be leaving the country this week. That'll be fun.
Yeah, by the time you hear this episode, we'll be on our honeymoon.
I think we'll be back, right? I don't
I
know.
don't know.
Either
It's
way,
7 days starting on, like, Wednesday, so
I
or
don't know.
Thursday.
Either way, whatever. Moving on.
I don't know. You're gonna hear this episode, and we'll be having the time of our lives, so enjoy your ears.
Yeah, I'm good.
I've been playing Pokemon Shield. That's all I wanna do all the
Would
time.
you rather have a doctor that comes in, like, say you're getting bad news, right? You don't know what's news. You just went in because you're like, oh, this is weird. I didn't know that there was a bump in this place. And they do tests and whatnot, and the doctor comes in and he's about to give you the news about what it is, right?
Mhm.
Would you rather the doctor like sit down and be all nice and calm and be like, well, it's stage 4? Or would you rather have them come in and just scream it at you as like some jokes? I feel like I would want the jokes.
I don't think I'd want either. I think I would just want them to come in, be like, "Here's the issue. Here's what we're gonna do for you. Do you have any questions?" Because I've had a doctor do the first thing and be all calm and make it sound way less intense than it is, and then I was just like, "Okay, what the fuck does that mean? Like, what? What? Like, why are you bringing this up though? You're not dying, are you?"
No, I thought about it earlier. I saw a video, and I a Futurama clip where the main character gets abducted by aliens and they take his nose. I don't know if you've seen this episode.
I don't think so.
They take his nose because they think it's the human reproductive organ, so they're harvesting noses illegally, right? So he comes back from looking for Bigfoot and he doesn't have a nose. And so stop laughing, it's true. And so he comes over and he's like, what's everyone staring at? And the doctor is there, right? In the camping group of like friends. And he goes, let me tell him I'm good with like bad news, or like I'm good at giving patients bad news. And he grabs him by both his shoulders and he just screams at him. And he goes, Fry, you have no nose. Your nose is gone. Where it is, we can't say, but on your face, it is
Wait,
not.
maybe I have, unless I mean, there's probably a lot of episodes with Zoidberg doing that, but
Did you say Squidward?
Zoidberg?
Who?
Zoidberg? Is that his name?
It sounded like you said Squidward.
Oh, I was like, "Don't tell me I got Zoidberg wrong." Um, I think there's a few episodes where he does stuff like that, but that does sound familiar.
Yeah, it's so funny. I think that'd be if it wasn't like a super serious thing. I think that's what I want. They just come in and be like, "You have a cold. You need the medicine to get better," and I'd be like, "Oh shit, all right, my bad."
No, I think I would just like them to say it very simply because I feel like they're either too nice about it or they're, like, too, like, intense about it. Like, just come in, state the facts, let me know my options.
You're
That's
boring.
all I need. I am
What a
easily
boring person.
confused.
Like, here's your options. You can do this or this. Pick one.
Not like in
Thank
that
you.
tone of
Next
voice,
window, please.
motherfucker, but
Get out of my office now. I've made you wait half an hour. Now I need you to leave quickly so I can stand in this room and wait for
no,
another half an hour to go into another patient's room.
like, if they come in, like, they should be, "Hey, we got your results back, like, it's cancer, it's this. I know this is a lot to take in, but, like, we have some options when you're ready to discuss them." That'd be so easy
When
for
you're
me to
ready to
understand.
discuss them. Yeah,
You
all
know
right.
what
How's
my
next Tuesday
doctor
coming
did
back?
when they found the little cyst thing on my brain? He came and he said, "We found this on your brain. I'm gonna send you for more testing. Bye." And I was like, "What the fuck does that
I
mean?"
feel like if you why don't you ask questions, weirdo? I feel like if you knew the doctor or like was friends with them or part on a personal level, then the screaming could work a lot better. If like if it was just some random person yelling that you have COVID, you'd be like, okay, I don't.
Okay, well, I guess if something was wrong with you, how would you tell me?
If something was wrong with me,
Mhm.
well, then it'd be serious. But if something's like if I was your doctor and I said and like I saw something and be like,
It
"Oh,
wouldn't be
you have."
serious if you were the doctor.
No, no. That's what I'm saying. If I'm giving you bad news about me, I'm not gonna joke about it, right? Like if I'm giving you bad news about you, I'll lighthearted it, right? You gotta be like, dang, remember how you always wished, like when you were a kid, that you would die soon? Well, good news. Dreams can come true.
Bad news is you have 4
If
weeks
you
to
look
live.
at this, if you want to look at this X-ray right here, you'll notice that there's a lot of blurry spots. That's because I was shaking. A lot of drinks going on that day. But if you want to look at the MRI, there's a big mass on your brain. That one was not me. I was not shaking that day. And
I will have to say the best person in that case was my neurologist because my doctor didn't tell me shit. And then my neurologist came in and he was like, "I have a picture on my phone if you wanna see it." Like, and I was like,
I
"Hell yeah,
think
I wanna see the
your
thing on my
doctor
brain."
just didn't know what the hell was going on. Like that was the doctor that they were just like, "Hey, we need someone to go talk to this girl." And he's like, "Okay, what's wrong?" And they were like, "We found this." And he's like, "Okay, we'll do more tests." And then the neurologist came in and was like, "Dang, I saw your tests. I know what it is because I'm a brain doctor." You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, he like,
Much different.
my old GP back in Vegas, he's kind of an awkward guy whose bedside manner is terrible, but, like, he saved my mom's life a few times, so he was, good at his job. He just didn't have that, like, customer serviceness, I guess. But the neurologist was great because I was freaking out, and he's like, "Hey, it's not actually a problem, but if you wanna see a picture of the scan, I have it right here on my cell phone, and I'll show you." And I was like, "Hell yeah, I wanna see the thing on my brain." Like but, luckily, I didn't have cancer, so I'm still here. You're a problem now.
Mm, who now?
We're legally married. I feel like you'd do some dumb shit like, "Hey, good news, you're gonna be a lot richer soon. Bad news, I'm dying." Like
Goodness, you just walk in when they be like, "What are you doing?" I'd be like, "Updating my life insurance," and you'd be like, "Why?" I'd be like, "I don't worry." What's your social again? I need your social. What? Right now? Yeah, give it to me. I don't have time for this.
I'm losing days here.
Go get the whiskey. I'm trying to fill this out. I don't.
Okay, if you were dying, what would you do? Like, would you just kinda, like, die and, like, live your life normal, or, like, would you
Would
go
you just die?
no, 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 listen, like, would you like, but would you wanna do a bunch of crazy stuff and, like, go live your life and, like, travel and do stuff before you
What
die?
is crazy stuff to you? Like, are we talking about like going traveling and seeing the world? Or are we talking about like going downtown and being like, "I need heroin, please"? Like, what
No,
are we talking
I
about?
mean, like,
Crazy stuff.
would you wanna go, like, skydiving and bungee jumping and do a bunch of adrenaline-filled things and
I
travel
want to
the
do that
world?
stuff now. You're
I
just a
don't.
chicken and won't do it with me.
My friend said she'd do it with you.
Which one?
Caitlin.
Oh, we can go skydiving. Hell yeah.
I ain't doing
Hit
that
her up.
shit. I'll watch, though.
I'll find a plane. We going.
You saw how I reacted on the Tower of Terror. If you think I'm going skydiving or bungee jumping, you got me
It'd be
fucked up.
great. I'm gonna go the first time. The first time, I think you have to do it like tandem with somebody.
Yeah.
So I'll do that, and then I'll hit her up and be like, "Let's go. We're
Oh my
doing it."
god. This is I don't know the name of the story, but did you hear about that case where the guy went skydiving for the first time with his instructor, and when they pulled the chute, it just didn't?
No, it didn't come out. Yeah, I think so.
Can you imagine you're with another person and you pull the chute and they're just like, "Guess we're both
I think
dying."
the reserve came out at the last second, though. I'm pretty sure. I don't think they actually died.
I mean, I'm
I
sure
think the reserve
there's a
shoot
few
came
different
out.
cases, but I just
Yeah.
I don't wanna do that. Uh-uh. I can't even think
You
about it.
you say things like that, but you are way more likely to die in a car accident on the way to work every day. Like, the chances are astronomically higher of dying in an accident on the way to work
That's because I
than
drive to
it
work
is
every day. I don't
than
go
it is jumping
skydiving
from
every
a
day.
plane. No, I'm talking about statistically wise, like, the number of drives to work versus the number of fucking people that jump out of planes, like, statistically.
But I feel like if you jump out of a plane every day, that number would go up, wouldn't it?
The number of times you die if you jump out of the plane every
The
day? No.
likelihood of you dying.
The likelihood? No. You're looking at you're not looking at, like, the likelihood of, like, you dying on that. You're looking at the likelihood of equipment failure because equipment failure is the only really reason that you would die on skydiving, right?
Mm.
But there are so many other reasons that you would die if you were just driving your car. that you can't control.
I think
Like
I would be much more willing to go bungee jumping than skydiving, though.
bungee, why? I feel like more people get hurt bungee jumping.
Because I feel like it's quicker.
It's quicker to die. I mean, I
No, it's
guess.
quicker. Like you bungee jump, you're done. It's over relatively quickly. When you're skydiving, like that's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of feet that you have to fall.
How far up are you that you're
I don't
jumping?
know anything about how high up they go for that. I just know
You
I don't like
definitely jump
falling.
like not a lot of jumps that are like above that high. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. You're practically in space.
Where does the ionosphere start?
Anyway.
But I don't like falling. It just like I'm okay with the height part. That part's fine. It's the falling part. I don't like the
Oh,
way it
I
makes
feel
me
like falling
feel.
would be relaxing. You'd be fine with it.
No. You've seen me.
When have I seen you fall? What are you
The
talking
Tower
about?
of Terror, like dropping,
That's
I don't
not
like that
that's
shit.
dropping is very different from falling, all right?
Is
That is
it?
very different. Yeah, you are being pulled down by a seat that you're strapped to, as opposed to just falling when you can clearly see the bottom, and then you pull the chute and you slow down before you get there. Like, it's it's very different.
Okay, maybe I would try it. I don't know. It just doesn't sound very appealing. The most intense thing I've done is parasailing.
You said parasailing? How did
Mhm.
that go?
Well, we went to Turks and Caicos when I was a kid, and my dad and my sister went together, and then me and my mom went together. And my dad, being the charming guy that he is, convinced the guy driving the boat to like drop us down in the water, and I was freaking out because I thought a shark was gonna get me.
You okay?
They okay, to be fair, they really should have known I have OCD tendencies at a much younger age. Much younger. I think back to
They
some of the
would have
weird shit
had
I
to
did.
pay attention to you, alright? Very different.
Oh my god.
What's wrong?
Oh, that's so spot on. I think I told you about I went to my mom convinced I had worms in my poop as a child. I was convinced I had worms, and I made her go into the bathroom to, like, look, and she was like, "You're fucking crazy."
No, boy. Yeah, I'm not doing that if you tell me things like that.
No, now I know I'm crazy. I don't need someone to check for me anymore.
I check myself. Like,
When I was a kid, though, I was like, "No, mom. Like, I swear I have worms." That's partially because my uncle had, like, a bunch of dogs he kept outside, and they had fucking worms. It was all up in their water, like, everything, like,
you were
mm-mm.
just like, the same water.
No, I think I just
Like,
saw
I
that,
put it on a tarp, so it's good.
but I just think back about things like that when I was a kid, like, I used to stay awake all night in bed, like, crying because I was like, "One day, my sister will leave, and my family will die." And now I'm like, "God,
Can't wait for that day. Oh.
they should have sent you to a doctor earlier," you know? They were like, "My child's perfectly fine." Their child freaking out about every little thing. But hey, I made it to adulthood.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You think you're the reason I made it to adulthood?
I'm waiting for the debate on the other side.
You did help keep me a little sane.
Yep, I'm only a small part. That's what I thought.
That's why we got married.
Mhm. This what do you think in a besides us cuz we're a little bit longer and out of craziness, but what do you think is an appropriate length of time to be dating someone before uh proposing and or like getting into the engagement stage or like getting married, you know?
I think for me, like 2 to 3 years would be the
Okay.
ideal.
So today was my first day back at work after the wedding, right?
Mhm.
And so people were congratulating me, this and that. Excuse me. I was talking with one of those guys who I normally don't talk to that much at all, but he said congratulations, and he was taking over for one of the meetings this morning, so I had to like coach him on what to say and this and that because he doesn't do those meetings normally. Well, before we had some time before the meeting, but after the coaching was done, so I guess it was just time to talk to me about how marriage works. And so he said congratulations, right? And I was like,
Mhm.
oh, thank you, I appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. And then he said, yeah, I was with I actually just broke up with my girlfriend because she or my last girlfriend. I had to break no, excuse me. He had to break up with his last girlfriend because she was getting crazy and talking about marriage way too soon. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, we'd only been together for like 2.5 years. And I'd never proposed to her, but she bought a dress. So I broke it up with her. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, I
Okay,
think she just found a dress that she really liked and just bought it and for one day to be in a wedding. Cause he
okay.
said that that's the only thing she's like, oh yeah, she bought a dress for her wedding one day, but I was like, man, she's thinking about marriage after only like 2.5 years. That's like a 5 year mark for me. And I was like, all right,
I
five
mean,
years. I'm like,
if
shoot.
if that's what you want, like, I can see her side of, like, just buying a dress because 'cause I've heard a lot of women do that. They find a dress they really love, they're like, "I'll keep it," it's there for whenever. But,
Um,
I mean, I think, like, shouldn't they have at least had a conversation about marriage?
no, I don't know. I don't know. This wasn't that was the beginning of the conversation. And then moved into he said, yeah, and I've been with my current girl for about 4 years. So we're starting to maybe think about marriage, but I'm not at that threshold yet. I haven't even looked at her that way. And I'm like, you've been together for 4 years and you've never even thought about
I wish
possibly marrying her
the
one day?
audience
I'm like,
could see my face
okay.
right now.
I'm like, all right, sure.
Like, "What? Why
And
are
then he
you with
goes,
someone that long if you don't think they have marriage potential?"
right. But then no, where that was phase two of the story. Then we moved on to phase three, where he said, yeah, but I don't know. It's a difficult time right now because my first not wife, he said my first baby mama, and I was like, okay.
How many does he have?
And it was just no, mm-mm. He said, yeah, my first baby mama was being a real like bitch about the my daughter's quinceanera coming up, and he's like, it's 15th birthday, and I was like, oh, I know what it is. And he because she contacted me the other day asking for help with the party, and I was like, I don't know where this story is going, but this sure. He said, yeah, she asked me for help with the party. I said, sure, I'd love to help out. And she said that she spent $11,000 on the quinceanera and wants half the money from him. And he said no, he can't send half the money for this quinceanera, but he'll send. I think he said 2,500. He said I'll send you 2,500. So he sends her the 2,500, and then he said he called her again because the quinceanera is in like a month. And he goes, it's like in a month, and I contacted her and I said, hey, can I get an invite or like how many like spots can I have for my side of the family to attend the quinceanera of their granddaughter and my daughter. And the wife, or not the wife, excuse me, the first baby mama, apparently she told him that 2,500 doesn't get him or any of his family a table or a place at the quinceanera.
I like her.
Didn't invite any of them. I'm like, yeah, look, even if it's not much, he gave you $2,500 and he can't even go to his own daughter's quinceanera. I'm like, bro, what the
I
fuck?
mean, is he involved in his daughter's life otherwise?
I don't know, but if I assume because like why even reach out to him unless it's just like, hey, I need money for child support. But
But I mean, I see
even
from
then,
both
I thought that
sides,
was funny.
but a quinceañera is like a really big fucking deal in a Hispanic
Right.
life.
Well, and there's a couple parts of it is like the father-daughter dances and stuff that are involved in a quinceanera usually that he wanted to be a part of and asked about, and she said no. And he's like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't give you enough money to attend my own daughter's quinceanera. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
I'd bet there's some more drama there than
No, I bet there's other stuff too. I just thought it was funny how he was like, "Yeah, my first girl, I guess second girlfriend, they broke up at 2.5 years because she had a dress, and the current girlfriend, it's at 4 years, but he can't think about marriage yet because he's dealing with his first baby mama and his 15-year-old daughter, or her daughter is about to turn 15. I'm like, that's a whole mess of drama that you have,
it
sir.
sounds like this
Have
guy
fun."
needs to stop dating people, frankly.
I'm like, you've had at least 3 relationships. I'm like, good on you for keeping them so long, I guess. But I don't know.
Just
I
saying.
was like, But then he said that, and he's like, "Yeah, so I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have to talk to some in laws on her side and see if they can get me an invite or something." But anyway, congratulations. And I was like, "Thank you again." I guess this whole conversation, by the way, was just him talking. Like I didn't say a word. He just kept going, and I was like, "Anyway, it's time for that meeting." And he's like, "Oh yeah, let's go." I'm like, "Oh yeah."
See, that's the problem with being like approachable, especially if you're just quiet. People think they could tell you anything and every fucking thing. Every day, I am so happy that you're not absolutely fucking insane. Like, I know it's the bare fucking minimum, but like, I'm just like, wow. I hear stories about stuff like that, and I'm like, damn, Jordan's
What
a
do you
good
mean,
guy.
like insane?
Just like his first baby mama, that implies he has a second baby mama. Like, how many times do you have to make the same mistake before you're like, okay, maybe I should take a break from these relationships, or maybe I shouldn't get these women pregnant?
Maybe he's like taking a break from a relationship and then got had a one night stand. Now he's got a kid. You
I
know,
don't think
you've
that's
just given him the advice to get a kid. That's what you've done.
no.
Yeah,
Some people shouldn't have children.
that's not what you said. You said he should take a break from relationships.
Well, yeah, especially if he's been like if he thinks it's crazy to start talking about marriage after 2 to 4 years. Like I understand if you don't want to get married, but at that point you should be comfortable talking about like, hey, where do we want this to go? Like, is that something you see in your future? Like, if not, cool. If yes, then I'm good to wait. But like, it just interesting guy, interesting guy. I don't know him personally,
I
so
don't know. I met him for the first time like 3 weeks ago. So
it's like, guys, just know you can use condoms.
right.
That's one thing that gets me. Those, not saying your coworkers like this, but these types of guys are usually kind of who's like, well, she wasn't on birth control. Okay, motherfucker, it takes two to tango. Like, you're telling me there was nothing you could have done to prevent this from happening? Okay. But that's just my opinion. Okay, so I had therapy this morning, and we're doing like the EMDR therapy, which like in some of the sessions they make you watch something that goes like from side to side and then like has a sound, and they talk about like traumatic memories or things that you're dealing with. My therapist kept asking me like, "Oh, how do you feel about this? Like what are you feeling?" And I was like, "I don't know, like my feelings haven't changed from the last time you asked me." And at one point I told her I was like, I don't know, like it just I feel the same. And she was like, "There's no wrong answers." And I was like, "Why do I feel like there's a wrong answer? Why do I feel like I'm
Yeah,
failing
there's always a
therapy?"
different answer. There's not a wrong answer. There's just one you get judged for. Like, what did you think of that sound? You'd be like, sounds like somebody getting murdered. And they're like, that was
No,
definitely the sound of a kitten, but okay.
I love my therapist because she goes she shows me all the different sounds. There's like different ones you could do for when it was hitting each side of the screen. And then she goes, "Now tell me what you think about this sound." And then she played it and I was like, "I actually hate that." And she goes, "I know, right? It's terrible. Why did they include this one?" I was like, "I don't know, girl, but let's not do that one." The one we ended up going with was like a ping pong ball sound. Um, and then she asked me at one point, like, what I thought about it. I was like, I don't know. I just like repetitive sounds. So this is like fun for me.
So, boy.
She also asked me about my birth. She's like, was your birth normal? And I was like, I think so, besides the fact that I was an unnecessarily.
Should have been like, I don't know. I've only been through one, so I don't.
I mean, besides the fact that I was like like a, I don't know what the word is, like an
Incredibly privy. What?
unnormally quiet child. Like when I was born, I just opened my eyes and I was like, I'm here. And my mom said they had to like spank me to make me cry because I guess they worry about your lungs or something. But I was
Oh, so nothing's changed. Okay. What's wrong?
wasn't expecting that. Okay. uh, and I was like, I did learn to like read and speak early and all that sort of stuff, but I think I was pretty normal other than that.
Yeah, we all have to read like really quickly. That way we can tell people there's worms in the poo.
Yeah.
Come check.
God, and the I read so much Like, I read, like, kids stuff, of course, but then I would also read, like, ancient Egyptian, like, textbooks as a kid. They really should have known there was something wrong with me earlier, like, who does that?
I don't know. I still find it funny that you're just like, yeah, when we can have kids that'll watch scary movies with us when they're like 3, and I'm like, no, we won't. What are you talking about? It
I
traumatized you.
I didn't even think about that until you brought it up, though, like, I just thought it was completely normal, like, that's fine, yeah, and then I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's fine to watch a scary movie with your parents and then not be able to sleep for a few nights. Perfectly fine. Like,
yeah, I did end up, like, lopping the head off of, like, half my dolls as a kid. I would didn't want them to come to life and try to kill me, okay? Like,
weird.
but yeah, don't let your kids watch scary movies until they're, like, 13, because apparently it's traumatizing or something.
Almost as if there's like an age rating on most movies. I wonder what that's for.
My family definitely did not adhere to that.
How much do you think that guy gets paid? The guys who sit and watch entire movies and then put ratings on them, like the PG-13.
I don't think it's, like, a singular guy, like, I think they show it to a test audience and, like, gauge their reaction.
No, no, there's standards. Like they have set standards for each, like what categories they're in, but someone has to watch it that knows the standards in order to categorize them. And it may be it may be a group of people instead of one person, but like still some people at that agency have to be the ones to watch the movie
Honestly,
and
they
give it
probably
a
get paid a
rating.
lot.
So like how much do they get paid?
Probably
I want
not
to
a
know
lot.
that.
Probably not a lot. Because they're probably like, "Oh, you get to watch these movies. That's, like, the perk," you know?
I'm gonna look it up. How much do
I'm
movie
looking it up right now
raters
too.
get paid?
It just brings up movie critics. I know, like, it's what, like, if you drop an F-bomb, like, that's, like, an automatic, like, rated PG-13, and if you drop more than 2, it's, like, rated R.
Yeah.
I can't find anything specific about
What's
it.
the What are they? Hold on.
I don't know, it just keeps bringing up film critics for me.
Yeah, that's what I keep getting too. Who makes these? Um, the MPA, is that who makes them?
In America,
Hmm.
probably. It's different in different countries. Like, here in America, if you show a titty, "Oh, no, children can't handle that. They can handle bombs."
Motion Picture Association. We're gonna get to the bottom of this. Now I need to know.
I I've literally never thought of this before, but thank you for making me think about it and obsess over it. I just saw a meme, sorry, while you're looking this up. It says polyamory, but it's because you need 3 incomes to survive now.
Okay, hold on, hold on. Well, how is that helpful?
What does it say?
Okay, production assistant, blah 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 blah. I don't know. So this is the Motion Picture Association jobs by salary. An assistant controller makes an average of 105,000 a year. A administrator makes an average of 78,000 a year. Production assistant or advertising and promotion makes an average of 32,000 a year, and senior project manager of operations makes an average of 86,000. I don't know which group of those like rates the films though. Hmm.
This is a very complicated subject, apparently.
Okay. As of April 2024, the average salary for a Motion Picture Association employee in the United States is $137,858.
What? Repeat that number?
Yeah. The average salary for the MPAA is $137,858 a year or $66 per hour.
But sure, $15 an hour is asking too much.
The majority of salaries range from 102,000 to 170,000 at the 75th percentile, and above the 90th percentile in the company, 200 is at $208,000 a year or above.
Damn, I'm in the wrong degree field.
So their lowest the lowest earners at the MPA, it looks like, earn about 100 grand a year with an average hourly wage of $49.
Shit, I'll rate stuff. Time the
You
fuck
said
up.
probably not a lot. I'm like, I don't know. They make some pretty good money, I would assume, but I don't know how you get into that field.
I just don't think that's fair.
Watch this movie. Tell me what you think. Okay. But I feel like
Well,
you
they
have to
stop
watch the
twice,
movie.
so
Like, watch the movie, count how many F bombs there are, and you're like, can I just control F the script? Like, what are we doing here? Like, what are we, you know?
yeah, I'm sure the good ones have, like, you know, like how you used to have like your shortcuts when you were doing like the road safe stuff. They probably have things like that where they're like, oh, this happened, this happened, this happened.
Yeah. All right. Well, I got to go take some medicine and get packing. So that's going to do it for me this week. Ripley's going to keep talking to you for another 10 to 15 minutes by
No, I'm
herself.
not.
Oh, wow. She just backed out of that agreement. She doesn't like you guys anymore.
We
That's
didn't have
fun.
an agreement. Oh, sorry.
Wow.
I'm tired, okay? I want to play video games.
But that's fine because Ripley will do the outro anyway. Go for it.
Well, this has been yet another episode of Mindless Prattle. Thank you guys for listening. We appreciate you being here. If you like what your ears heard, you should give us a follow on wherever you like to listen to your podcasts and maybe on like TikTok and Twitter too. I promise after the honeymoon, I'll be posting more on there regularly. So thank you for being patient with me because I'm trash. That's Jordan. I'm Ripley, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.